perhaps maybe more embarrassing than devastating to their bottom line. I want to ask you, Chase, about Sam Bankman-Fried, because you've met him many times over the years, of course, in assessing his wealth. Just tell us a little bit about when you first met him, because he was what, 26 point, I can't remember. He was definitely worth more than 26 billion at his peak, right? Now, what is he worth at this point?
FTX raised. They raised $400 million at a $32 billion valuation in January, sort of just as the crypto market had kind of, it had turned by then, but they had still raised at a really high valuation. And the U.S. operations of FTX had raised money at an $8 billion valuation. And so combined, FTX and its U.S. operations were valued at $40 billion in January. And so that was the last time they raised money. Probably maybe the last time they ever raised money. And it was the highest valuation that they had ever raised money at. And so at that point, Sam Bankman-Fried was worth about 26.5 billion by our count. And now we think he's worth less than $1 billion. And it's super unclear whether there's any real material wealth there at all, because so much of his fortune was tied up in his equity in FTX, FTX US, and the holdings of Alameda Research, all of which are bankrupt now. And so it sort of comes down to, did he really,
what did he manage to get out and put somewhere else?
He gave a lot of money to, he's put some money into philanthropy, but, did he pull any money out for himself quietly without anybody knowing about it? The details, there's not a big indication of that yet, but, the details are sort of waiting to be seen. But it seems like he's worth less than $1 billion. And when I asked Sam Bankman-Fried about that, last week, as everything was, going up in flames, he was still searching for a bailout for FTX, looking for investors. Certainly was extremely, extremely busy. Had to have been inundated with requests for all sorts of things, and he hadn't spoken to anybody in a long time. And I asked him about his net worth, and I said that we thought it was probably less than $1 billion. And he actually replied to me, and he said that he isn't sure what his net worth is at this point, but he can't confidently dispute that it's less than $1 billion. That was before FTX filed for bankruptcy. So
did he seem devastated?
Doesn't seem to think he's a billionaire.
I mean, you've again, give us some sense of what he's like as a person. I mean, that's a very calm response to somebody who's just seen their net worth plummet more than 90%.
Yeah, I mean, my experience with Sam Bankman-Fried is that he's a very calm person, a very calculating person, and always gave the impression that he was extremely forthright and that there wasn't any question you couldn't ask him. There wasn't a topic that he wouldn't really go there, at least when it came to his wealth. And he was very generous with his time in sort of explaining, here's what I own, here's what we think it's worth, here's why it might be worth less than what I've marked it at. I mean, you would tell him, well, we're going to go lower than what you think this is worth, for example, and he would say, okay, no problem. He didn't fight hard for his, he wasn't fighting you every tooth and nail for every dollar or anything like that. And he would tell us information that would lower the numbers, in some cases. And so he definitely gave the impression of somebody who was, pretty forthright about all of this stuff. And really where we had a lot of questions were sort of just in the business model itself. And, all of that, crypto itself being, a little opaque and hard to figure out. But, he was very, he was very willing to sort of talk through all of this stuff, and not somebody who lobbied hard one way or another, sort of for anything. He was pretty easy to talk to.
Have you looked at the knock-on effect on other crypto billionaires? I mean, any sense as to, obviously they're not in his position, but certainly we've seen the market tumble. Has that knocked a number of other people off the billionaire list as well?
Yeah, well, so we had a number of crypto billionaires fall off the billionaires list this year, just as the prices fell. That was, before FTX, went belly up. And so none of those crypto billionaires are back on the list. And, you can look and you can see that the remaining crypto billionaires are certainly not doing better than they were before this, as, we've seen the price of Bitcoin drop, and, you can look and see what, Coinbase is doing and all of that in the market. So it's been a bad year for crypto before all of this happened, and this has certainly not helped really any of the crypto billionaires. With maybe the exception, and I don't know net worth wise, but maybe power wise or something like that. There is an argument that can be made that one crypto billionaire in particular, CZ, has come out maybe a bit of a winner in
This
this.
is finance.
In the sense that he maybe helped orchestrate the takeout of a major competitor. So is that however many months or years down the road, is that a win? It might be, but right now I don't think even CZ is substantially wealthier than he was a year ago.
Can I stand back 1 second and just take a look at the broader picture of the volatility of wealth that you're seeing? Since you've been covering this for several years, markets go up, markets go down, but how does it compare now when we've got, these wild swings of wealth? Is that unusual? I mean, not just crypto. We've obviously seen, I'm not going to say implosion, but certainly a downturn in big tech as well.
Yes, there's definitely always ups and downs. And at any given point, there's always ups and downs. And there have been points that have definitely swung harder up and especially downwards than there is now. I mean, we could look at the dot-com bubble, for example. You could look at the housing, crisis, and then the recession. And even just the very quick but very sharp dip with COVID in early 2020. All of those downturns have definitely been sharper than now. But it is true that right now it's sort of the S&P is sort of pinballing a little bit here and there, and billionaires can definitely gain or lose a ton of money in a given day. And you're right, especially in the tech arena where particular billionaires have lost a lot of money. Mark Zuckerberg's net worth is way down. Elon Musk has been down lately, and so it's definitely more volatile than at a lot of points, but there have been some swings that have been really, really kind of wild swings, and things aren't down as bad as they were in that 2-week stretch in March 2020, for example, or when the dot-com bubble burst or anything like that.
So Chase, I have to end by saying basically, since you are a money man, a numbers man, what is on your radar? I know with regard to what will you be looking for, not just with Sam Bankman-Fried, but can you give us a bit of a sense of what's around the corner? I know we're not soothsayers, we're journalists here, but the investigation, I'm just curious the likelihood that he will increase his net wealth from here. And again, maybe I don't know if that's the right question to ask, but it's certainly one that's in my mind.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Obviously, can't predict the future, but I find it hard to believe in the short or medium term, at the very least, that Sam Bankman-Fried will increase his net worth. If anything, all the details that come out have seemed to just be worse and worse for him, net worth wise. But also I know that he's, facing some criminal investigations. There's probably, I'm sure, going to be, a lot of legal action that he's going to have to fight through. So I just find it hard to believe that Sam Bankman-Fried is going to be on the billionaires list anytime soon. Maybe if, it comes out that he didn't do anything fraudulent, and it was maybe just some bad business practices, maybe way down the line. He's a very young person. He's a bright person, and if facts come out and they're beneficial to him, maybe one day he has a successful business again. But I think right now it's pretty hard to see that happening. And as more and more of the details come out, it seems less and less likely.
Great. Thank you, Chase.
Yeah. Thank you.